Hey, what's going on, everyone? Now, before I get started with the review, I do want to go ahead and make an apology. I am currently using my computer that has a weird buzzing sound whenever I plug my microphone in, so bear with me on that. Again, I apologize, just bear with me, and hopefully the sound is not too construed and it doesn't sound too bad. Now, let's get on with the review. The Hobbit Desolation of Smaug. I hope I'm saying Smaug's name right. I know, like they say, it's a certain way you're supposed to say it. Like it's not Smog, it's Smaug or Smaug. So if I'm saying his name wrong, correct me below. Any hardcore Hobbit fans can go ahead and correct me on that. So, well, I want to talk about the Hobbit unexpected journey because I realized on my channel I didn't do a review on that, and which is surprising because I'm a huge fan of this franchise. Love the first trilogy, Lord of the Rings trilogy. Peter Jackson knocked that out of the park as far as I'm concerned with all three movies. And my opinion on the first Hobbit was it's good, but it wasn't as good as the original trilogy. That's my thoughts on it. I thought it was a good movie, but I don't think it reached the level of quality that the first trilogy did. Still good, but just not as good as the first trilogy. And a lot of the problems that an unexpected journey had, I thought were fixed in this movie. Now, one thing I had to do because I'm gonna say this right now, absolutely love this movie. Uh, when I first saw the trailer, I was really hyped when I heard Smog's voice, and it was being voiced by Benedict. Uh, I don't want to mess up his last name, but I'm not even going to attempt to say it. But he played Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. I loved him in that role, and to hear that he was voicing Smog, and then when I heard it on the trailers, I was like, "Oh man, that sounds so good! I'm really excited for this movie now." So there's that. So I was already hyped going into this movie, and then I saw it and I loved everything about it. I came out super hyped. I was really excited. You know, the blood was rushing and everything. I was still hyped out the movie, so I didn't want to do a review like that. I didn't because if I would have done a review like that, I would have been geeking out too much, and it wouldn't have come out right. But yes, I do love this movie. It's my favorite movie of the year. I can see myself having this on my Blu-ray player when it comes out on Blu-ray, playing this over and over again. Uh, so there's that. That's my general kind of thoughts on the movie. Now I will be talking about spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and go away. Uh, Cause yeah, spoilers. I mean, if you read the books and if you're a fan of the franchise, you pretty much know how the story goes. There is some stuff that's added on with this franchise, but if you know the gist of the Hobbit, you read the books and you know the story, there's really not much to be spoiled anyway. First of all, I think that getting into the review, first of all, I think that the pacing was well done. I think the pacing is much better in this movie than it is in the the first Hobbit, Unexpected Journey. It flows really well. The characters, the action, everything just flows really well. There was never a point where I'm like, okay, this feels kind of jumpy and it doesn't feel smooth in terms of pacing. So I thought the pacing was spot on. The music, I thought was good. That the music matched the themes and what was going on with the characters and whatnot, and I thought they did a good job with that. So yeah, the music score I thought was good. The acting in here I thought was spot on. Everybody does a good job, with their characters. There wasn't anybody I felt like they were not really trying hard or anything like that. Everybody did a good job with portraying their characters and delivering the dialogue and all of that. There was an added character on here. I think her Terrell, if that's how you pronounce it. Um, the movie could have been great even without her in it, but with her in it, it's still great. You know, like I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, she shouldn't have been in the movie and all of that. I thought she served a very good purpose. Like I thought she served a purpose to the narrative that was going on in the movie. Like I didn't feel like she was out of place. Like she was just put there for a cool factor, or because I know a lot of people complain that, uh, the Hobbit is just full of men, and there was too many male characters, not enough female characters, and stuff like that. So they decided to add another female. They decided to add a female character, excuse me, because it was just a sausage fest. But I really just I don't mind her character at all. She's not from the books or anything like that, but for a character that is made up for this movie, she's not in the original source material. I thought she served a good purpose in the movie. You know, so there's that. Um, I really like the portrayal of Bilbo Baggins in here more than I did in Unexpected Journey. In Unexpected Journey, I thought that the portrayal of Bilbo was a little kind of phoned in. Like it wasn't bad, but it was like he seemed like he was kind of bored with the role. Like he feel like I don't feel like he was putting much effort into it. Maybe that's just I don't know. It's something that didn't jive well with me with his portrayal of Bilbo. But in here, like he really just he embraces the role and just runs with it, and I liked it a lot. Um, Orlando Bloom back in here as Nicholas, I thought was good. Like I said, all the characters are just portrayed really well. Now, the movie is 2 hours and like 20 minutes long, but it doesn't feel that way. Like I said, from beginning to end, it just moves on, and you're just stuck with this amazing, uh, you're stuck with this really amazing journey, and it's really exciting. It just leaves you wanting more. Um, One thing that really surprised me, that really does surprise me about this franchise as a whole, is the amount of level of violence that they're able to get away with in these movies. Because there's a lot of beheadings in here. Mind you, it's mostly the bad guys, and orcs and stuff like that are getting beheaded. But still, the fact that they're able to do it, I mean, because when I went to the movie theater, there were a lot of kids and a lot of parents brought their kids to see this movie, and I'm surprised they were just like, well, okay, whatever, we're just gonna have it violent. And the themes that were going on in this movie, there's a lot of dope themes going on in this movie with power corrupts. That's pretty much the whole theme of this movie is power corrupts. But there was like a lot of implied, really just a lot of adult stuff was in this movie, and I'm surprised that this franchise has gotten away with it. But it's cool as well, like it's great that we can have a movie like this, and it doesn't need to be totally, catered towards kids. It doesn't have to be totally kiddish and dumbed down and whatnot. So I like that a lot about this film and this franchise as a whole. So there's that, and the way a lot. I saw this movie in regular 2D. I didn't bother with the 480 PS or whatever, and I didn't bother seeing it in 3D. But just the way the movie is shot, like there's certain camera angles and the way the camera moves, especially during the action scenes. There's a one scene where all the characters are in like these barrels and they're going down the river stream, and there's some action going on with that, and it's just shot so beautifully. It's just like amazing. One of the best action scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Period. Like the way that the camera moves from here, like it's like a steady cam shot, from here to there, and it's just amazing to look at. It's amazing to view, and I was really blown away by that scene in particular. That was just phenomenal. Um, Another thing in here that was really kind of, well, I think Gandalf's getting on Gandalf's kind of side story with the necromancer and that leading into being Sauron. I thought that was really interesting the way they did that, the way they portrayed it, like on a visual level. I was just blown away by that. But a lot of people complain that there's too much foreshadowing to the ring. There's too much emphasis on the ring, and there's too much foreshadowing to the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, well, that's kind of the point, though. Like, it's supposed to be doing that. There's this whole, thing that, a lot of the characters keep saying, like, there's this great darkness coming and stuff like that. I like that a lot. It ties in with the other trilogy and stuff like that, and I like that they're foreshadowing to that. So that didn't bother me at all, and I thought Gandalf's scene with the necromancer was really, really cool, well shot, and um, he just knocks that out of the park as Gandalf. Just spot on, another one. Just keeps with that character and just rolls with it like he is that character. It's fantastic to watch. Now, getting on with the main attraction to this film, which was Smaug. The First of all, let me just say the CG for the dragon was great. It looked good. A lot of people were complaining about that in the trailers and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna look good. They're gonna polish it and it's gonna look fantastic on film, and it did. Uh, I I wish this was shot in IMAX cameras. Like, because I would have saw this bad boy in IMAX and seeing Smog's, like, just his his whole, the size of him and everything about him, the way he acts, his demeanor, his voice. That would have been spectacular with IMAX. It would have been like, oh, just pure nerdgasm. But yeah, Smog was fantastic. Like I said, beautifully animated and fantastically voiced. I mean, that voice is gonna stick with me for like forever. Like, this is gonna be like the definitive Smog voice that I hear when I'm reading the books now and everything. It's just spot on. One of the best portrayals of a villain I think ever in film. Just I just love watching him do his thing up there. It was really fun the way he was playing with Bilbo, and the way he kept you know playing these little games with Baggins, and him and Baggins going back and forth on their kind of beliefs and whatnot. And Smog is cocky, and he's got a fascination with gold. And you know, I also really like that they actually put the lines from the animated film in here. Like, it's not directly, but most of the lines are from the book, but they actually put the line from the animated film in here. The whole, he didn't say I'm strong, 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 but he said the other lines. I was like, oh man, and he said it in like a different context, and I was like, yes, yes, that was just great. And I thought that, considering, how much it would take to, I don't know how much money and all that it took to make it, but like, sometimes when you're watching a movie and it's filled with a lot of special effects, you can kind of notice that some parts are like fake or not really well polished. But I never looked at Smog and was like, he looks like, there was never a point where I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. That looks really fake. Like, he just looked authentic. He looked like I can touch him. Like, it was just looked real. So as far as the special effects goes for this movie, it's amazing. Now, a lot of people are having a problem with the way the movie ended. I love the way the movie ended on that cliffhanger. When Smog just gets really pissed off, he's like, "Revenge! I'll show you revenge!" And then he just flies off. First of all, he has gold on him, right? And then he flies up into the air. It's an amazing scene. He flies up into the air, and then the gold just comes out when he flaps his wings out, and the gold just starts falling back. I thought that was beautiful. And then he just flies, and he starts saying, he's like, "Revenge? I'll show you revenge." And then he's like, "I am death." And then the movie just goes off. And Bilbo Baggins has this line. He's like, "What have we done?" And the look on his face, you're like, oh man, y'all pissed off the wrong motherfucker. I was just like, ooh, can't wait for the there and back again. So yeah, I love the way the movie ended, and the music that they played was pitch perfect for that. Like, you get this feeling of like some bad shit is about to go down, and I really, really like the music for that. And I'm saying a lot of positive things about this movie, but it was just really, it really blew me away. It was really, really good. It was, it just was amazing to me. Now I'm trying to think of anything negative I can say about it because there's really not a lot of things that I really was bothered by. You know, there was nothing really in this film. I'm sure when I watch it again, I'll find some things that annoy me and whatnot. But as far as I'm concerned, this movie is as close as to perfection as possible. Now I know, you know, I haven't read The Hobbit in a while. As far as accuracy, it's probably the closest thing we're gonna get to it. You know, to the books because Tolkien is like so detailed in everything. Like when he, expanding the world and the world building and all of that. He's very detailed about his stuff and in his material. So as far as that, I think they did a good job in portraying that because if they would have put like every little thing, and the movie would be like 4 hours long. So as far as getting this stuff down, I think Peter Jackson has really done a good job, and I don't think anybody could have done it better than him. So my thoughts on the movie is it gets a 10 out of 10 for me. That's the way I feel about it. And like I said, it's a surprisingly really dark movie, darker than I thought it was gonna be. So if you're gonna take your kids to go see it, be kind of cautious because there is some violent moments in here that might frighten them. But other than that, it's fantastic. So I'm gonna leave this review off and Bloody Days, Gory Nights. Catch you guys on the flip side. I'll probably do a review, like another review when I watch the trilogy again. Like when there and back again, when I've seen that, and I'm gonna watch the whole thing over again as a trilogy and see how it plays, how it flows and all of that. There was one more thing I wanted to say, but it slipped my mind. So, yeah, I'm out. Catch you guys later. Peace.